Welcome to Tent Talk, the podcast with Nancy McCready, where we talk about life under the big tent of God's presence and the provoking process of discipleship. Here we go.
Well, here we go. We are in the executive lounge in the Warsaw, Poland airport. And here shortly, in a very few minutes, we will make our way to our gate and we will fly from Warsaw to Frankfurt. And then we will have maybe a couple of hours in Frankfurt. And then we will begin the longer flight from Frankfurt to Houston. And then we'll get home, hopefully, if you're listening to this in real time, Monday evening, December 15th. So I would also like to say happy birthday to me, okay? You know, there are seasons in your life where you're like, no, I don't want to draw any attention to myself. And then you're like, why aren't people paying attention to me? And then you get to that place where you're like, yes, I'm glad that I was born. I'm extremely glad that I was born again. And I am truly grateful that I am still alive and married for 40 years and in full faith for all of my family to not just escape hell and make heaven, but to know the Father here and now and to see them flourish. So I do say calmly, gladly, gratefully, happy birthday to me. I am so very, very glad to honor the Father, to honor that He would allow me to finish my 66th year. So I am finishing my 66th year. So I'm 66 now, fully. And tomorrow, when I wake up I pray in Sealy, Texas, that I will start my 67th year. Okay, not to confuse anyone, but it's important that you have your birthday philosophy correct, okay? So I am now 66. And I can't think of a better way to be traveling home to my husband, to be in the nations, to have been able to watch people responding to the Father. That's a great way to celebrate a birthday. So also, as we are in the NMM Year-End Giving Initiative, you know, it's important to me that what we write, the pictures that we show, that they are true representations of who we're with, what is happening, and literally watching people this weekend as we had core leaders there in Lublin, Poland at Cross Encounter, that they literally were taking their seat at his table. They were literally hearing truth. They were responding to him. I believe there's the birthing of international apostolic hubs, centers where the Father's flaming presence is getting ready to be magnified, more made known. Of course He's present. Of course He's already there. To see Him, though, be able to move unhindered, for Him to be the God that He is in His own house, that Son's steward. So as you go through our social media or as you get our emails or however it is that we're attempting to communicate to you, look, this is where we've been in 2025. This is how we utilize the funds, the contributions that all came in last December, which was close to 100,000. That we've been utilizing that all year to expand the NMM team and the operations, and to upgrade operations, and to be able to go to the nations and able to host producers in our ministry house in Texas. All of the many and varied things that we said that we would do and that we have, upgrading resources, strategizing and working on what was to come for 2026. And so now here we are on man's calendar, which there are times where man's calendar, God's calendar, they do definitely dovetail. And so now we are on the precipice of stepping into the next depths of what the Father has always had planned. It's not just because it's a new year. It just, here we go. It is unfolding. And so how very glad I am for that to be happening, and to recognize that we're going to be able to give greater support to certain producers who are scaling up, who are beginning to structure and to see form a more expanded work coming out of them. I'm really glad that Alex Gray will be hosting a cross encounter in Northern Ireland, January 5th through 7th. This is going to enable folks to enter into the Producer's Way School Oxford Edition 2026. We just hosted Cross Encounter in the Netherlands for those same purposes. We just had this Cross Encounter here in Lublin. There will be other Cross Encounters in the early parts of 2026 that I'm not physically at, but we are a part of sending those teams out. And those will be in Norway and in Poland and in the States. My heart is so expanded for the U.S. of A. In Florida, in Texas, in Oklahoma, in Iowa and Nebraska, and wherever you may be. And you may say, Nancy, I want to host a cross encounter. I want to make this available so that those that I have influence with can hear this message. Hosting doesn't mean you teach or anything like that. It means you simply have attended one and would like to make that available to someone else. So we're looking at expanded operations potentially in the British Isles, and looking at the expansion within people. So listen to me carefully. When I am thinking and strategizing, and people say, oh, we can do a cross encounter here, there. I say, wait just a minute. I said, we have to, if we're going to be those who steward this, we have to be ready to ask ourselves what's next after that, before we even step in to do cross encounter. Because if we are not ready to respond, to strategize, to build with those who have awakened at that cross encounter, they have heard an answer from the Father. They want to go further. They want to be discipled. They want to open up this work and message, maybe in new and varied ways. And they want to do that with us, and we want to do that with them. So that means that you can't just crack people open And then not be willing to talk with them afterwards and say, let me share with you what the Father is making possible. For us to tell them this can be possible, that this can happen, but not be really willing to do the real work, the glad-hearted work of discipling and passing on life to others. So this is a part of why this work could never remain with one person. This is about producing producers. This is not about trying to bring every single one of them under the umbrella of NMM. No, I don't want anyone to be diminished in the sense that we're trying to form and shape you according to us and what we think you should do. No, we want to say, let us pour life into you and let Him bring the shape and form to you. Are you ready to take responsibility and to steward this work? That means you would enter in at new depths to be trained, equipped, skilled, that you are continuing to go in with Him for your own life. Because that is the hub, that is the crux. It's not your gifting and your ministry. It's like, is this your way of life? He's told me very clearly not to put this work in the hands of those who don't have any intention as living witnesses of Him. As I've seen Him, I know Him. I'm learning His ways by the very fact I myself am being raised by Him. And I'm learning and willing to be trained and equipped. This is an aspect of Oxford for next year, but it is not the whole. I'm not simply trying to produce more mentors, though I think, really, honestly, I do. I think everyone ought to be able, if called upon, able to pass on this life in a way that people can enter into it, not just be told about it. But then I also know that the Father is preparing sons for all spheres of culture, education, finance, business, the sciences, media, arts, all of these areas that are a massive part of discipling nations. I think we can say someone's been discipling some nations. I don't think it's been the church, because all those tools of media are being used in ways that are flooding our lives. Education. Someone's been discipling the education nation, and I don't know that it's with the clarity that would be brought by sons. Not about mandating that everyone become Christians. That would tend to cancel the gospel, my friends. But to be those who recognize that the Father wants to give them influence, and that we become tremendous influencers in culture in every area, not only by the words that we speak, but the best practices that we put in place, standard operating procedures, financials, integrity, character, the metanoia, metron, that can bring life change to any group whatsoever. We have got to think with the Father about His plan. So this is a part of where we are headed. And if you've heard enough about Oxford, but you're not still really clear on it, and you want a conversation as a partner or simply as a listener, then all you have to do is communicate. All you have to do is ask me. Send me an email, because we have got to be those responsible people that the Father is calling right now. And then we must give Him time. And next year is a very important time. Just because you can see what's on the horizon does not mean you're ready. So I'm going to say this very clearly. The Father, for my assignment, for what I am to do has told me that next year is that time to release this to the second, third, fourth wave of producers. Those who might just be entering in right now, right? Those who have been journeying for a while. Those who may be at mid-range. And this is why we are flexible. This is why I'm sitting in Europe in December on my birthday instead of at home in my robe and slippers, okay? Right? Is because usually I'm never traveling in December. I'm home. We are, working on different things. But this year, it was extremely strategic that I be in the Netherlands, that I be in Lake Nitsa, that I be in Lublin. Very strategic. And because he's setting things in place and in position and in motion. And we have to flex with him and watch him make all the provision. And so I know that this year, Wynn and I are pledging certain amounts towards NMM. And I do want to say to you that right now, based on funds actually received, now we're only midway through the month, but we have in monies pledged that will arrive early January, and monies that are already in the account have already been sent. I am going to say that we're probably at the $35,000 to $37,000 mark. Now, I didn't set a goal this year because I didn't hear anything. And I said, Father, you can be as open-ended as you want. Because you might find it embarrassing or ridiculous for me to say I'm in faith for millions. But for what I've been seeing for all of these years, we've been incrementally increasing and seeing that released. And now that it would go to support and to launch out other bases of operation, international hubs of sonship, which means the Father's hubs, his places of habitation, where he is going to be moving powerfully. And so whether those things come directly, those funds come directly to NMM and we disperse, or they go directly to those who are operating and stewarding hubs, well, so be it. I'm just in faith for the incremental increase. So I'm finding that I'm much more willing these days to step out and to say certain things because the Father is giving me a permission, if you will, to be able to do that. And so I'm not saying that millions are going to come in before December 31st, but I'm not saying they're not. They may come over the next many months, but I am going to see what the Father is showing me, what he's saying, and I'm going to be in faith for it, whether or not I verbalize all of that, because oftentimes you simply guard what he shows you. So I'm very grateful for the funds that have come in and that are pledged, and this is a part of how we are able to say to others that the base operation of NMM is covered, and now we want to be able to help fund key producers. We may not be their only support, but we may be initially a major portion of their support because they may be a one-person operation right now, but not for long. But it's amazing to watch through all of you how we all truly are moving together. And this is to be reciprocal. This is not always to be one direction. And that's why NMM is a giving ministry. Not only do we want to be world-class receivers, we want to be world-class givers. And so there's always funds specifically going out to others who we can see that the Father is preparing them. Because again, and here's my closing question, where are these responsible people who have now entered in, and the old yoke, if you will, of works has broken, and now we are all in the yoke of the Lord, and He's bringing rest and relief to us inwardly so that we can work alongside Him and He alongside us. And it becomes, as we learn His way, and it must be learned, it's coming out of life and love. And it's not anything and everything, and it's not hyped up. It's the day in and day out of our life with Him. And I believe we're about to see a major surge, a major increase, a scaling up, because that's what He said would happen. If we would prune back, let Him do it His way, and then He would scale up. And the scaling up is happening in others. And how glad I am about that. How glad Wynn and Tina are about that, my board. How glad we are to see this amazing increase and expansion, the enlargement of what the Father is doing. So I want to commit this podcast, just commit it into that place of prayer and say, Father, every word, right, is being said to You, Father, that we stand with You. And we're going to stand with each other, and we're going to see what You're doing. And we will not hype, and we will not manipulate. We will not market, sell, package, dominate. But we will, Father, walk in Your best practices, and we will see Your message go forward. So I hope you join me in that. I hope if you've given, you can hear my great thanks to you. And if you want to give additionally, and you want to pledge for next year and become a partner, then we want that so very much. If you haven't yet, then I think in the show notes you can see that there's a link there. You can click that and then be able to give. And we will be glad to talk with any of you, go over anything, explain anything. And we want you to be wise and sharp people, and certainly wise and sharp partners with NMM. So there you have it from Warsaw today. Let's be those responsible people. Let's just continue to enter in for ourselves. If you're listening to this and you've recently attended a cross encounter, or something is happening in your life, do not buy into the lie that we're too busy to talk. My friends, this is what we do. This is our assignment. We watch for people to communicate with us. We watch so that we might respond. We are watching for those responses. Where are people beginning to reach out? And so we invite that. Okay? So we love you all. And if you're listening in real time, please join and pray with us as we travel home to Houston today. All right. Love you all. Until next time.
For more information on Nancy, please visit nancymccready.com or follow her on social media at NBMcCready.